Imagine a place so remote that it's the farthest point from any land on Earth. A place discovered by a Croatian-Canadian engineer, Hrvoje Lukatela, using a geospatial program. He christened it Point Nemo, paying tribute to the fictional submarine captain from Jules Verne's novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's positioned right in the middle of a circle covering an area of ocean that is over 8 million square miles. But what makes Point Nemo even more interesting is its otherworldly connection. This vast body of water has become a haven for decommissioned space vessels. Yes, you heard that right. Spacecraft from the world over are safely steered to Point Nemo to meet their fiery end as they re-enter the atmosphere. They break apart and burn up, preventing any harm to populated areas. Almost 300 spacecraft have been sent to this watery graveyard, earning it the nickname Spacecraft Cemetery. It seems almost fitting that long before it was named, a famous horror writer used the exact waters as the setting for his nightmarish city. H.P. Lovecraft placed his fictional city of Relaya, the home of the giant monster Cthulhu, just a couple hundred miles from Point Nemo. Though it's highly unlikely anyone has ever consciously visited this location, the closest encounter was during a yacht race in 2015. What is even more mind-boggling is that at that point, the sailors were closer to astronauts in the International Space Station than to the rest of humanity. And if that's not eerie enough, wait until you hear about the mysterious sound, the bloop, picked up by oceanographers from the depths below Point Nemo in 1997. But the most intriguing part about Point Nemo is, you'll have to stay tuned to find out. What's up, my curious crew? It's your favorite seeker of the strange and the unknown, Caesar, and I'm joined by the ever-insightful Sonia. Are you ready to dive into another chapter of our shared journey into the world's mysteries?
Hey there, listeners. Always ready to delve into the unknown with you all.
Remember to subscribe to our Curiosity Wonderland and hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode. We broadcast daily at 10, 14, and 20 hours, so stay tuned. Today's topic is going to keep you on the edge of your seats. You know, this reminds me of a conversation I had recently with a friend who works in space research. He was telling me about how they carefully plan the re-entry of decommissioned space vessels to ensure they end up at Point Nemo. It's amazing the level of precision needed to ensure that these spacecraft, traveling at such high speeds, land in the middle of an ocean, far away from any human settlement.
That's a funny coincidence, actually. Just last week, I was reading a book about infamous sea monsters and legends from around the world. There was a whole chapter dedicated to Lovecraft's Relaya, the city located near Point Nemo. Strange how these things connect, isn't it?
Indeed, it's fascinating how different aspects of our lives, from advanced space technology to literary fiction, can intersect at such a remote and little-known part of the world. But let's not forget the man who first pinpointed this spot, Hrvoje Lukatela. With his geospatial program, he was able to identify the remoteness of Point Nemo using modern computing and GPS technology.
Absolutely, and the name Nemo, Latin for nobody, is such an apt descriptor for this place. It's the epitome of isolation, a place further from dry land than any other spot on Earth.
It's quite remarkable to think that the remotest part of our planet has taken on a new role in the space age as a graveyard for decommissioned spacecraft. This enormous area, larger even than the former Soviet Union, has been designated as a safe zone for bringing down these vessels. As they re-enter the atmosphere, they violently disintegrate and burn up, scattering debris over a vast area.
And it's not just any old scrap. Some of the most significant spacecraft in history have met their end in this desolate spot. Russia's famed Mir space station was laid to rest here, along with nearly 300 other spacecraft since the early 70s. Even the European Space Agency's supply vessel, named after Jules Verne himself, was guided to its final resting place over Point Nemo.
And yet, despite its isolation and inhospitability, Point Nemo isn't devoid of a sense of romance and wonder, thanks in part to the works of literary giants like H.P. Lovecraft. His sunken city of Relaya, home of the mythical beast Cthulhu, is said to be located near Point Nemo, a place of mingled mud, ooze, and weedy cyclopean masonry It represents a terror beyond our comprehension, imprisoned beneath the sea in green, slimy vaults.
It seems Point Nemo has an allure that extends beyond its geographical isolation. It's a place that captures the imagination, whether through the lens of science, history, or fiction. It certainly adds a layer of intrigue to our understanding of the world's remotest location.
It's rather astounding to think that Lovecraft was so close to the actual location of Point Nemo when he was writing about his fictional sunken city. It's as though he was able to tap into some primordial knowledge to identify this remote and eerie part of the world's oceans, even without the benefit of our modern technology.
And speaking of eerie, there's something quite uncanny about the way sea and space meet at Point Nemo. In 2015, during the Volvo Ocean Race, the participants found themselves closer to humans aboard the International Space Station than to any other people on Earth as they sailed past Point Nemo. It's a thought that certainly adds to the sense of isolation and remoteness.
Certainly, and there's a special kind of haunting beauty in the thought that this remote point is a beacon for both the dead remnants of our space exploration and the undead beast of Lovecraft's imagination.
Indeed, and if things weren't already strange enough, let's not forget the mysterious bloop sound detected by oceanographers in 1997, emanating from the depths below Point Nemo. Though it's believed to be caused by icebergs calving in Antarctica, some haven't ruled out the possibility of it being produced by a giant, unknown underwater creature. Perhaps Cthulhu is, after all, more than just a figment of Lovecraft's imagination.
It's a chilling thought, to say the least. As we sit here discussing the remotest point on Earth, it's also easy to forget that Point Nemo is not static. As our planet's tectonic plates shift and move, so too does the location of this most isolated spot, making it a dynamic, ever-changing point of focus in our vast and mysterious planet. So there we have it, the story of Point Nemo. This is the place where Earth's most isolated point meets the final resting place for decommissioned spacecraft. It's a site that seems straight out of a sci-fi novel or the fevered imaginings of a writer like H.P. Lovecraft, who incredibly ended up setting his mythical city of Relaya and its monstrous resident, Cthulhu, remarkably close to this most remote place. It's a place where distance takes on new meaning, where sailors find themselves closer to astronauts than their fellow humans, and mysterious sounds emanate from the depths. Now, if that isn't a curiosity worth exploring, I don't know what is.
Absolutely. It's such a fascinating blend of science fact and fiction, history, and mystery. It really does show how much there is still to discover and understand about our own planet. Thanks for sharing this journey with us. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Point Nemo, don't forget to blast that like button, leave us a comment, and share this episode with your friends. It really does help us out, and who knows, you might just be the one to introduce someone to the fascinating world of Point Nemo.
And on that note, it's time for us to sign off. Thanks for joining us on this journey to the most remote place on Earth. It's been a real pleasure. Stay curious, and as always, we'll see you in the next episode of Curiosity Wonderland.
Goodbye, and keep exploring those curiosities.
Our exploration today was based on an intriguing article titled, "The Most Remote Place on Earth Has Space Junk and a Sea Monster," written by Frank Jacobs and published on the Atlas Obscura site on March 8 of 2024. The full URL is in the video description if you want to delve deeper into the subject, all right? Until next time, stay curious